There comes a critical point in every person's life when you must make a definitive choice, a moment where all the excuses, distractions, and lingering doubts have to be laid to rest. This turning point arrives when you look around, realize how much time has slipped through your fingers, and acknowledge that the world will not pause for you to catch your breath. This is the instant you decide to lock in. Too many people spend years planning, daydreaming, or waiting for external forces to provide the perfect conditions. They craft elaborate visions in their minds, vowing that someday they'll chase their dreams. But someday is a fickle term, because it never truly arrives unless you bring it into being. The truth that so many ignore is that life doesn't hand out success or achievements simply because you hope for them. Life demands consistent effort, genuine discipline, and unwavering perseverance. In this decisive moment, this lock-in point, you acknowledge that nobody else is going to get up early on your behalf. Nobody else will put in the hours you're supposed to put in, and nobody else can be held responsible for your future. Yes, it's daunting to step into that level of accountability. Human nature often nudges us to blame external circumstances for our lack of progress. We're too busy, too unprepared, too unlucky, or just not as fortunate as the next person. However, those circumstances rarely vanish on their own. Life will always be complicated, and the path forward is seldom a tidy road paved with easy choices. What transforms an ordinary existence into a remarkable one is the willingness to say, "Enough is enough. I'm done waiting for a handout. I'm here to claim my destiny." It is this iron-willed resolve that sets you apart from the masses who prefer to remain in the realm of potential. Potential, by definition, indicates something that hasn't happened yet. And the difference between staying stuck in potential and progressing to actual accomplishment is the firm decision to lock in. So as you stand at this crossroads, you must realize it's not about finding the perfect moment. It's about taking the imperfect moment you've been given and turning it into something extraordinary. Locking in means committing wholeheartedly, closing the door on half-baked efforts or maybe tomorrow mindsets. It's a call to eliminate all the noise that has consistently thwarted your progress. There's a common tendency to get lost in planning phases, drafting detailed goals, reading countless productivity books, and listening to endless motivational speeches. While these might be useful catalysts, there comes a point where continual planning becomes a means of procrastination. Engaging in preparation feels productive, but without execution, it leads to a cycle of endless delaying. Real transformation occurs the moment you take that first bold step, even when you feel unprepared. Understand that your biggest adversary isn't the competition or the skepticism of the outside world. Instead, it's your own internal voice, the voice that says, "Stay comfortable. Wait until it's safer. Maybe next week will be better." That voice often disguises itself as prudence, caution, or the need for more preparation, but in truth, it's the voice of fear. Fear will do its utmost to keep you paralyzed, convincing you that now isn't the right time, that there's a missing piece, or that you're not good enough. Locking in means breaking that spell, silencing that self-limiting narrative, and standing firm in your resolve to break free from stagnation. Moreover, locking in calls for mental rigor. You have to cultivate a state of mind that doesn't waver when life throws you curveballs. Setbacks will happen. You might lose a job, miss an important opportunity, or face ridicule from people who cannot fathom your vision. Yet, if you're truly locked in, none of these obstacles will derail your spirit. Instead of seeking validation or pity, you stand up, brush off the dust, and keep moving. In a society that often glorifies overnight success or viral triumphs, it's easy to forget that real success stories are forged through day-by-day resilience, not a single dramatic moment. It's the unglamorous, behind-the-scenes grind that shapes the final outcome. By recognizing that your essence, your future, your triumphs, and even your missteps hinge upon your own determination, you free yourself from the confines of external excuses. That realization fuels a fire within, ensuring that you remain steadfast in your pursuit because you've made a promise to yourself to lock in no matter what. When you lock in, you stop waiting for life to give you a reason to act. Instead, you create that reason out of a personal vow to be better than you were yesterday. Too often, people wait for an ideal surge of motivation, an extraordinary morning where they wake up feeling unstoppable, or a perfect scenario where all resources line up flawlessly. But motivation, as many have discovered, is a fleeting emotion. It's there some days and gone on others. If you only work when you're bursting with inspiration, you'll find yourself achieving very little in the long run. Locking in demands that you move beyond the superficial spark of momentary zeal and anchor yourself in discipline. Discipline is your rock-solid foundation. It doesn't yield to passing moods or fleeting whims. Think of discipline as your personal guardian, standing firm regardless of whether you feel tired, overwhelmed, or uncertain. Discipline ensures that your actions are non-negotiable. If you promise to wake up at dawn to exercise, you do it, even if your bed feels like a cozy refuge. If you declare that you'd spend 2 hours a day improving a skill, you follow through, even if it means missing out on social media scrolling or mindless entertainment. These are the building blocks of real change. While the rest of the world might fall to the moment they encounter discomfort, those who have locked in see discomfort as an opportunity to grow. Yes, there will be days when your energy is low, days when the voice of doubt hisses in your ear, and days when you question your choices. That's precisely when discipline takes center stage. It whispers back, "You may not like this right now, but you'll appreciate it later." And the most extraordinary results emerge when you push past this resistance. Every time you choose to persist rather than give in, you reinforce an unshakable mental framework, one that can weather storms, heartbreaks, and disappointing outcomes without collapsing. In essence, locking in is about making a pledge to yourself that you will keep going, regardless of how many external factors try to pull you off course. It's understanding that each small action, taken consistently, transforms into massive accomplishments over time. And perhaps most powerfully, it's recognizing that your dreams are worthless without action, and that action is fruitless without the discipline to see it through day after day. We often hear the phrase, pay the price, but how many individuals really understand what that entails? Everyone likes the image of reaping rewards, enjoying career success, having financial stability, achieving personal fulfillment. But not everyone is willing to meet the demands of the journey. If you lock in, you accept that there is no escape from putting in the strenuous work. You recognize that extraordinary achievements require extraordinary efforts, which might include long nights of solitary labor, early mornings when others are still asleep, and countless hours mastering your craft while your peers are seeking leisure. None of this is easy or glamorous. It's often repetitive, painstaking, and lonely. But these sacrifices are exactly what set you apart from those who prefer to only fantasize about their ambitions. One of the toughest truths to swallow is that there's no quick route to real greatness. Yes, you may see stories of individuals who stumble upon sudden fame or wealth, but scratch beneath the surface and you'll find that lasting success can't just rest on luck. It demands consistency and grit. When you lock in, you consciously decide that you'll not be swayed by fleeting comforts. You won't allow a bad day, criticism from naysayers, or a string of setbacks to derail you from the path. You hold steadfast the belief that your consistent, relentless grind will pay off in the end. Adversity is the inevitable test that will measure the depth of your commitment. If your resolve is shallow, the first signs of hardship will push you to withdraw or compromise your goals. But if you have truly locked in, you will discover a deeper reservoir of resilience, one that propels you forward, even when the outcome is uncertain. Nobody can train this kind of perseverance into you. You have to cultivate it yourself. It arises from a moment you choose to push through discomfort, from each time you say yes to discipline and no to surrender. What truly differentiates those who progress from those who remain stuck is the willingness to endure. Anyone can start strong when they're enthusiastic, but the question is, will you persist after that initial surge of excitement fades? Will you continue when the path gets rocky and the finish line seems far out of sight? If you can answer yes to that, you're already proving that locking in is more than a slogan. It's a mindset that transforms your entire life. To lock in effectively, you must confront a powerful opponent, your own desire for comfort. Modern life offers abundant temptations, endless streaming services, easy ways to order food, the constant scroll of social media, and the universal appeal of convenience. While these luxuries aren't inherently negative, they can become stumbling blocks if you allow them to overshadow your ambition. The greatest trap isn't failure, but complacency. Failure can be enlightening because it forces you to reevaluate and try again. Complacency, on the other hand, can lull you into a state of inertia, If you begin to settle for good enough, you'll never realize the exceptional heights you could have reached. Comfort, by its nature, is seductive. It offers a familiar refuge where you don't have to take risks or face uncertainty. But staying too long in that comfort zone can stunt your growth. When you lock in, you deliberately shift your focus from short-term ease to long-term fulfillment. Instead of hitting snooze when your alarm goes off, you get up and push your boundaries, be it working out, honing a skill, or diving deeper into the tasks that propel you toward your vision. Instead of binge-watching television through the night, you devote time to reading, strategic thinking, or building the relationships that matter. Over time, these seemingly small decisions accumulate into significant advancements. It's essential to realize that comfort, while soothing in the moment, often breeds regret in the future. Picture yourself a few years down the line, looking back at this phase of your life. Would you be proud of the hours you spent in passive entertainment? Or would you wish you had committed more deeply to the goals that once set your heart on fire? The path of least resistance may spare you temporary struggles, but it also deprives you of profound satisfaction that comes from overcoming challenges. Locking in means taking a stand against complacency. It's looking at a lure of immediate gratification in the eye and saying, I have a bigger purpose than just taking it easy. By putting in the hard work now, you not only build a stronger character, you give yourself the chance to live without being haunted by the question, what if I had tried harder? Another critical element of locking in is the ability to push past the inevitable moments of doubt and despair. Even the most driven people encounter dark days when they question their path or feel the sting of multiple setbacks. Pain is not something you can bypass if you aim to reach a higher plane of success. It's an essential part of growth. The key is not to run from pain, but to transform it into fuel. Whenever you find yourself exhausted, frustrated, or on the brink of giving up, remember that these feelings can be catalysts for breakthroughs if you wield them correctly. Look around at anyone you admire, artists, entrepreneurs, athletes, or innovators, and you'll see a history of challenges that shaped them. Many had moments of near defeat, times when they were overlooked, misunderstood, or brutally criticized. Yet, they persevered because they refused to let pain dictate their future. Pain, when confronted rather than avoided, has a way of revealing hidden strengths and honing a sharper edge to your determination. Each time you rise after falling, you send a powerful message to yourself that you're capable of more than you believed. Locking in means you embrace the struggle because you understand it's part of the process. If it were easy, everyone would do it. If it didn't test your resilience, you wouldn't evolve into a stronger version of yourself. This doesn't mean you glamorize suffering. Rather, you comprehend its place on the path to excellence. Each setback is a lesson, each obstacle a stepping stone, provided you remain locked in on your ultimate objective. That single-minded focus acts like a beacon in the dark, guiding you through the storms and keeping your eyes on what truly matters. In the end, it all boils down to a choice. Will you allow adversity to drain your spirit, or will you use it to sharpen your willpower and refine your approach? Locking in demands the latter. It insists that instead of wavering at the first sign of trouble, you learn from what went wrong and come back twice as determined. In doing so, you cultivate a mindset that is practically unbreakable. A mindset that sees even the darkest moment as yet another challenge you're fully prepared to overcome. Locking in also involves holding yourself to a higher standard than anyone else ever could. This is not about external competition. Rather, it's about constantly challenging the person you were yesterday. Compare yourself not to the individual next to you, but to your past self. Ask, am I evolving? Am I demonstrating more focus, more commitment, and more integrity than before? People who are locked in never stop pushing their own limits because they understand that stagnation is a quiet thief of potential. They set the bar continually higher, not out of arrogance, but out of a desire to stretch the boundaries of what they thought was possible. In many ways, this journey is solitary. Friends, family, or mentors may offer guidance, encouragement, and feedback, but ultimately, the decisions you make when no one is watching define your trajectory. Those solitary hours, early mornings, late nights, weekends spent learning or refining skills, are where true progress is incubated. When applause is silent and no one is cheering you on, your internal resolve becomes the loudest voice in the room. If that voice is strong, you'll persist. If it's filled with second-guessing, you may falter. It's crucial to remember that your goals and aspirations should not revolve around impressing others. Public recognition can be gratifying, but if your motivation depends entirely on outside approval, you're building on unstable ground. There might be periods in your journey where nobody notices your efforts. You could be toiling away, improving incrementally, yet receive no applause or support. This silence can be disheartening if you haven't locked in, but for the truly dedicated, it's just another part of the process. They trust that as long as they keep moving forward, their labor will eventually produce results that speak for themselves. Holding yourself to a higher standard also means questioning every excuse. When you catch yourself saying, "I'm too tired," or "I don't have enough time," examine whether that's genuinely true or just a comforting rationalization. Often, we create elaborate justifications to mask our unwillingness to commit fully. Being locked in means facing these justifications head-on, dismantling them, and forging ahead despite them. This level of personal accountability ensures that you'll never be plagued by lingering regrets about what could have been, because you'll know you gave a pursuit your absolute best. Ultimately, locking in is about taking ownership of your life in a way that few people dare to do. It's about recognizing that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can absolutely control how you respond, how hard you work, and how committed you remain to your vision. Each day is a fresh opportunity to inch closer to your goals, to refine your methods, and to prove to yourself that you have a determination to keep going. Yes, there will be moments of triumph when everything falls into place, and those are exhilarating. But there will also be times of deep disappointment or seemingly insurmountable challenges. Through it all, locking in provides a steady compass that keeps you from losing your way. In a landscape saturated with quick fixes, self-help trends, and endless streams of superficial advice, locking in transcends mere theory. It becomes an unshakable vow that drives you to take action repeatedly without waiting for perfect conditions or the approval of others. It's about transitioning from passive observer to active architect of your future. Every time you push through obstacles or stay disciplined despite a lack of immediate reward, you reinforce the truth that your destiny is not something you discover. It's something you create. So, in this very moment, consider where you stand. Are you ready to throw off the limitations you once placed on yourself? Are you ready to stop dwelling on past failures or external circumstances you can't change? If so, then decide right now to lock in. Make a promise to remain steadfast through every dip and hurdle. Let this decision guide you tomorrow, next week, and every day after. Let it shape how you spend your time, how you treat your body and mind, and how you set your boundaries and aspirations. When you look back on your life, whether in 5, 10, or 20 years, you'll want to see a story of purposeful strides, not unresolved regrets. Lock in and start creating that story now. This is your moment, your spark, your call to take life into your own hands and mold it into a masterpiece. Decide, commit, and act. Then keep acting, keep building, and never waver. Because once you've locked in, the only question left is how far you're willing to go for the life you've always envisioned.